Welcome to McDonald's Coach's Bench here each week on Mix 104.1. Thanks to Mark Smith and everybody with McDonald's restaurants in the Southeast Tennessee area. And each week with Coach Marty Wheeler. Coach Wheeler, last home game for the season tonight, 7 o'clock for the kick at Raider Field, Benny Monroe Stadium. Won a good crowd there. Weather should not be a factor as far as any negatives. And would love to see these seniors have a big crowd on their last home game.
Absolutely. It's I've said it all the time. Like you see seniors when they realize finally that it's winding down for them. I think they don't really ever completely understand it until it's gone. Right. And that's the way it's been forever. I didn't understand it. I spent most of the time my senior year dreading practice through the week, and I remember though when it got down to the playoffs late that it's sort of when it dawns on you that this is the last day that I'm going to be practicing. It's just when you've put 4 years into it, it starts to set in a little bit. But I think what's great and a great example of that is you see all the former players come back, to practice.
Right.
This year's been, last year's senior class was a special group, and anytime they get a chance, they want to be down on the sidelines. We've had guys every week this year on the road and at home,
Yes.
that have been down there. So it's, there's nothing like high school football. I've had a chance to be a part of it for a long time, and feel really, really fortunate that I have. It's just there's just nothing like Friday nights of football.
You and this group of seniors came 4 years ago, and they've had some tremendous victories. A couple weeks ago against Maryville, in my mind, stands out as one of the highlights. There's been other big victories, a few disappointments along the way, but Coach, I never saw your team throw in the towel. And okay, we're not going to be in this game. Let's move on to the next one, and not go out there and compete, regardless of if they were up by 10 or down by 10.
Well, yeah, it's. I think that's a credit to our coaches on staff that continue to coach them. They do the same thing. They coach. They don't change the way they go about doing things. And I think that was one of the keys to us being able to, the drive that when we were behind late against Maryville to push that in, and again, McMahon County this year, we were trailing late in that game and found a way to win that football game. It's just, but it just says a lot about our players too that they didn't panic against Maryville. When they had to, neither McMahon, and ultimately that's who it needs to be to do that, right? Because they're the ones that have to execute the plays. So, biggest thing out of this group is they're a good group. It's a good, solid group of not only football players, but also they handle themselves very well in the community, and it says a lot about what we're trying to do here. From a program standpoint. Winning football games is great, and it's what we want to do. But we also want our guys to leave here, and when things get tough on them as they get older, which you try to tell them, like if you think football practice is tough, there's going to be a lot of things that become more of a challenge for you the older you get. So hopefully, our guys have been able to process that and understand it to a point so they can go out here and be not only good people, but be good husbands and good fathers, and as they go, further on in life. So that's what we really want, and I believe this group here definitely is made up of a group of guys that will be able to do that.
Absolutely. Quality people now and in the future. And Coach, one more question about the seniors. Sometimes, a kid will have a good freshman year or a good sophomore year. And then sometimes you look at a kid and maybe you think internally, I'm not sure how much this kid will ever see the field on Friday nights. But this group of seniors have stuck with it, and they're getting the rewards of all the off-season work that they do, a lot of people don't realize what a kid goes through to be a Blue Raider on your football team. And sometimes you kind of find a diamond in the rough, so to speak, when they come in as a freshman, sophomore, whatever. Anybody out of this group that you feel has just really progressed a lot this year or the last couple of years?
Well, I mean, I've mentioned Braden Duggan's name quite
Yes.
a few times this year. I mean, there's a guy that didn't see a lot of playing time as a junior or a sophomore, and actually came to me wanting to change positions at the beginning of the year because, there was some guys in front of him. There was more depth there at that time, and so I'm all about a guy that wants to, if it means changing positions, if that's going to give him an opportunity to get on the field and help our football team, I'm all in favor of that. If it's something that he can do, and I'm glad that I listened to him. I'm glad that I gave him a shot at defensive end because he's really stepped up his level of play for quite a few weeks now, and it's really been a joy to see him do that. That's one of the most rewarding things I believe in coaching is when you see guys that maybe younger as freshmen, sophomores, they're not ready to step into that role, and really shouldn't be. There should be guys older than them that are able to play, in my opinion. But to see them, progress, develop, and improve over the a couple of years, and then be able to, be productive, not only at their position, but by doing that, it allows our defense or our offense as a unit or special teams to be much improved. I mean, Braden's had to take over the deep snapping responsibilities this year.
Yes.
And I can't say enough about how hard he's worked on it, and he continues to work on it. And that's one of those jobs where nobody really pays attention to it until you mess up. And so,
absolutely.
there's people don't realize what goes into that, but he's really done a great job of handling that. And I think, Glover Yawn, I'll say he's stepped up this year, and been productive for our program. And he's been in the program on and off, for 4 years, but he's stepped up and made some really, critical plays in critical situations throughout the year, and really proud to see him grow, as a player and a person as well.
We'll take our first break on McDonald's coaches bench with Coach Marty Wheeler. We'll be back in just a moment. Coach Wheeler, each week this question comes at you. You always have a good response. Somebody from last week's game that deserves recognition, whether they got it during the game or in review of film or whatever, some people that stepped up for you last week.
Well, I mean, I think, off the top of my head, Cam Lockerbie, I thought, played a really good game defensively. He's been pretty consistent this year. He's steadily got better each and every week. Cam's the type of football player that an individual that all coaches want on their team. He doesn't have bad days. He comes to practice every day. If he's having a bad day, he doesn't let me know about it, and that's huge. I think as a coach, you can't help but get excited to want to coach guys like that. Michael Jordan stepped up again and had another great night on offense. Lucas Zaborski, who's had a solid year for us this year, got injured in the fourth quarter the other night, and I thought L.J. Adams came in and really stepped up and made some really nice plays down the stretch too. So, it's just our offensive line really. Those guys need to play well as a unit in order for us to be successful. But, I think they've improved each and every game. And I think, Isaiah Davis is always going to run the ball hard, or Brian Beard when he gets in there. And, Drew is Drew. And so I thought, DJ made a couple big catches for us. Rodney has been solid. He's improved each and every week on not the deep balls, but the possession routes where we need we need a catch to put ourselves ahead of the chains. I think he's improved quite a bit on that, and also has been able to hold on to the football because he's taken some licks, after the catch.
Yes, he has.
And that's just a sign of those guys are improving. And just, it takes. We had a lot of guys this year so far that have had to play early on that didn't have any valuable game experience going in, especially up front. And it takes time to improve. It's hard to. You don't always improve as fast as you want to throughout the season, and that's what the off season is for. So, really proud of the way a lot of our guys have stepped up and answered some challenges that we've given them as a coach staff.
We'll be back and wrap up Coach's Bench each week, brought to you by Mark Smith and everybody at the area Southeastern Tennessee McDonald's restaurants. Coach Marty Wheeler, Giles County comes to town tonight, has been in the top 10 in the AP poll all season long with their classification. They bring another good football team to Raider Field. I would like to see the Blue Raiders extract some revenge. That was a long trip to Giles last year, and it would be wonderful for a Blue Raider victory. What's it going to take?
It's going to take what it takes every week if you want to be successful. We've got to protect the football, and we've got to execute at a high level, and we're going to have to be physical. They are a team that their quarterback and running back make them go. Both of them are very athletic, very good, and the same two guys they had last year. And up front, they like to get after it. They're a run-first football team, but do have the capabilities to beat you throwing the football if you're not, where you're supposed to be. Quarterback's extremely athletic. He scrambles around quite a bit and can find open receivers as he's scrambling. So this week we've tried to really create some drills and some creative situations for our back end of our defense to be able to not to break down when he scrambles, and then on the front end of our defense we've worked and really hammered being physical up front and fitting the run game where you're supposed to fit it. And the thing is with the running back, you may fit it in the hole where it's designed to go pretty good, but if you don't fit it on the backside,
yes,
or somebody over pursues from the backside, he'll make you pay on the cutback. So they require you to be very, very sound, very disciplined, in where you're supposed to be, in the run game and also in the pass game.
And that's going to wrap up Coach Marty Wheeler's Coach's Bench for this week. Each week, Coach Wheeler gracious enough to give us time out of his busy schedule, and we appreciate his time and the information he provides and the entertainment he provides on and off the air. Coach, always a pleasure, and we'll see you next week. Terry Evans for Coach Marty Wheeler, thanks to Mark Smith and everybody at McDonald's. That wraps up Coach's Bench for this week.